Kyohei Kuga is a young man who has left his small hometown to escape from its anachronistic rules and traditions. He wants to try a new life in Tokyo as a simple university student. In the past, he was a seiki, a title given to individuals who are able to control ancient wooden wonders and mysterious dolls considered gods in his village. The escape of a seiki from the provincial town abruptly brings to Tokyo a handful of other seiki who are searching for him. The story starts with Kyohei attending the university sociology department's party, where his friends are trying to coerce him into confessing to Hibino Shiba, a girl related to his hometown. He fails to ask her out, but later that night, when leaving, they discover a mangled body in the elevator. As Kyohei walks home from the subway, he sensed a presence, but ignored it. Later, his younger sister, Kuga Yutao, showed up with her doll, Kakuri. Yutao tells Kyohei the reason why she was here. She was sent to capture Aki, who had escaped his cell shortly after learning that Kyohei left the village. Soon after, Aki arrives with his doll to have a discussion, and the confrontation with Yutao causes serious damage to Kyohei's apartment. Because of this, Kyohei and Yutao come to live with Hibino and her father, who, as previously mentioned, came from the same village. While Yutao trains to improve her handling of Kakuri, an explosion occurs near the secluded training site. It turns out to be a university storage room that was being used illegally as the clubhouse of an about-to-be abolished club led by Kuko Karahari. Kuko happens to see Kakuri in action, as Yutao used the doll to rescue her and her assistant unobserved. As a result, Kakuri and other dolls become the subject to Kuko's new investigation, causing Kyohei to become concerned for Yutao. That evening, Kyohei sternly looks at the doll and ponders on his situation with Aki and his past choices. Hibino, taking Yutao to a park to wind down, contacts Kyohei to meet them there. Kyohei, however, chances upon Aki, who is displeased that Kyohei left the village and the change in his attitude. He even threatens to kill Hibino, which makes Kyohei almost snap. Koshiro Hyuga appears with his doll and his attack drives Aki away. Kyohei is trying to talk with him, but it's met with hostility. Elsewhere, a truck loses control, drives off of a freeway overpass, and falls toward Hibino and Yutao, who uses Kakuri to protect them from being crushed. Koshiro find Aki and continue the battle between their doll. Aki figures out that Koshiro's doll has been following his movements by his odor, and he manages to get away. As Aki is about to attack Koshiro, an unknown seiki attacks him unexpectedly and knocks him off of the building. Aki happens to land in front of Kuko, who drags the injured Aki to her apartment, where she interrogates him through torture about the existence of the doll. Kyohei, Hibino, and Yutao go to see Kuko, only to find a freed Aki. Aki makes acquaintances with Himino and mentions that she looks a lot like their teacher. This pushes Kyohei over the edge, but amusing Aki, as he proves they are similar. Aki falls off the balcony into the bushes to escape, and Kyohei goes out to search for him. Hibino catches up to Kyohei to bandage his hand for punching a concrete wall out of anger. Yutao encounters Kiryu Hyuga with his doll, who reveals that he is her twin brother who was separated at birth. Yutao and Kiryu enter a heated battle in the city using their respective doll, and many citizens catch sight of this. When Kakuri is seriously injured by Take Mikazuchi's electricity attack, it hides in the forest nearby. However, when Take Mikazuchi attempts to attack again, Kakuri absorbs the shock and repels it, destroying it. Koshiro arrives to take Kiryu back to the village. Kyohei later informs Hibino that he and Yutao must return to the village to repair Kakuri. She insists on accompanying them and drives them to the mountain village. On returning home, Kiryu is punished by Sahai Hyuga, the clan elder, for his reckless acts, and Koshiro prevents Sahai from stabbing Kiryu to death. It is later shown that Sahai has a dormant doll buried under the Hyuga shrine. Kyohei, Hibino, and Yutao meet up with Moya Kosamaki, who helps her grandfather to repair and maintain doll. She tells Hibina some of the secrets of how doll are constructed. Yutao goes to Sikio Takakuga, her grandfather, who confirms that Kiryu is indeed her younger twin brother. After Kakuri is repaired, Yutao trains with Moyako for a while before they go on a picnic. Yutao comes up with the idea that Kakuri should fly her, along with Kyohei and Hibino, as a way to go back home, but she loses concentration and causes an unstable and uncomfortable flight, prompting her to safely lower Kakuri onto the ground. Taking shelter from a downpour at the shrine, Kyohei is reminded of the sensei who taught at his school 6 years previously. In a flashback, we see Chiaya Sinnoh arrives at the village where she will be the new teacher. Sinnoh is harassed by Atsushi Kuga, a bully at the school, and the principal gives her a warning for slapping Atsushi. It turns out that Atsushi is a Seiki and regarded as near royalty by the townsfolk, and therefore, his boorish behavior is overlooked, even though he is barely able to control his doll. To get back at Sinnoh, he has started false rumors about her, ruining her reputation in the village. She plans to resign from her post, but after a brief encounter with Aki, she decides to return to school and continue her work. The rumors become worse. When Atsushi attempts to seduce Sinnoh a second time, Aki intervenes and takes her to his house where they later make love. Unfortunately, she is forced to leave the school after evidence of their encounter is made public. Atsushi takes Sinnoh captive and Aki arrives to save her. When Atsushi attacks Aki with Kuramitsuha, Sinnoh jumps in front of him and is killed. This causes Aki to go berserk, wrest control of Kuramitsuha from Atsushi, and slaughter him and his friends in vengeance. Aki is eventually overwhelmed by other Seiki and is sent to prison. After they return from the mountains, Kyohei, Hibino, and Yutao go to the beach, but a typhoon interrupts their agenda. To make matters worse, the inexperience is a power outage, not to mention numerous leaks from the ceiling. Kyohei and Hibino attempt to make repairs and Yutao uses Kakuri to assist them. On returning to the city, Hibino goes to return books to the library, and because she forgot one of them, Yutao goes out to catch up to her. Hibino encounters Aki at the library, and he questions her relationship with Kyohei. Yutao finds Hibino and challenges Aki to a duel at the park with their doll. When Yutao tells Aki that doll are meant to save rather than destroy, Aki cuts the match shirt and departs. Moyako comes to the city and tells Yutao about Kakuri's left hand and the power it contains. She also mentions that she is still working on repairing Take Mikazuchi. Moyako later takes a walk with Kyohei, and the two discuss Aki's whereabouts and Kiryu's presence. Kuko, who has been housing Aki for quite some time, has researched Karakami village and what happened 6 years previously, but she does not know how Aki fits into the picture. Kyohei has great concerns about Kiryu being in the care of Koshiro, not knowing why they have come to live in the city in the first place. He himself wonders if he has changed since he came to the city 6 months previously. Kiryu later goes to see Yutao and tells her that he will stop fighting her from now on. A Seiki named Mahiru Hyuga suddenly appears with Magatsui, her doll, and she seems to be head over heels for Kyohei. She becomes furious when the others there tell her to leave and she uses Magatsui against them. Elsewhere, Kuko takes Aki to see Takeshi Hirashiro, who was responsible for releasing him from prison. Out of nowhere, Mahiru breaks into the office and realizes that Hirashiro was soliciting Aki along with her. Mahiru defeats Aki by paralyzing Kuramitsuha and cheapens Kuko down on the floor using a taser. It is revealed that 8 years previously, Kyohei and Aki, along with Mahiru who followed them, found a cave in a forest by the village. They discover a doll, later recognized as Amaterasu, covered in glowing green moss. Amaterasu awakens and chases them outside the cave, and the three combine their efforts to take on Amaterasu, who has the ability to control one's mind. Kyohei saves Aki and Mahiru from Amaterasu by using Kakuri's left hand to repel its attack. Aki tells Mahiru, who has been in love with Kyohei since he saved her during the Amaterasu incident, that Kyohei is in a relationship with Hibino. Later that day, Moyako goes shopping with Hibino, but when Moyako runs off to use the restroom, an envious Mahiru abducts Hibino and questions her about Kyohei. She then drops by the restaurant to see Kyohei, who, along with Yutao and Hibino's father, is very worried for Hibino. Mahiru storms out when Kyohei rejects her plea to return to the village with her. During this time, Fujima, Hiroshiro's assistant, attempts to rape Hibino. Yutao uses Kakuri to help Kyohei and Moyako to search for Hibino. Kuko, finding out that Hibino is held hostage inside a penthouse apartment room, knocks Fujima out and rescues her. However, when they are confronted by Hiroshima, Kuko locks Hibino in the stairwell and takes Hiroshima on by herself. Kuko shoots Hiroshima and hands Fujima the gun just as someone discovers them, making it seem as though he shot Hiroshima. Meanwhile, at the stairwell, Mahiru wonders why Kyohei gave up his position as a Seiki and becomes irritated when Hibino says that too strong a power will bring in happiness. Magutsui grabs hold of Hibino and tosses her off of the building, but Kakuri arrives just in time to catch her. Mahiru, bent on having Kyohei to herself, engages in battle against Yutao. Kakuri slices through Magutsui's control system, which causes it to act on its own and capture Hibino, ignoring Mahiru's commands. Although Kakuri manages to impale Magutsui on a rooftop antenna, this does not stop it from attacking relentlessly. Koshiro and Kiryu show up and attempt to help. Koshiro is unable to do anything. Then Kiryu charges Take Mikazuchi toward Magutsui, but he accidentally stabs Kakuri instead and it falls into a nearby forest. Kyohei tries to pry Hibino from Magutsui's clutches but ends up being captured by Magutsui as well. The damaged Kakuri reawakens under Kyohei's control and destroys Magutsui. Kyohei loses consciousness and is taken to hospital. Later, on the hospital rooftop, Kyohei blames himself for putting Hibino in danger because of his past with Aki and Mahiru. Hibino interrupts his self-flagellation by kissing him and says that she is happy to be a part of his life. Yutao realizes that Kakuri is not responding to her anymore and that Moyako will need to take it back to the village for repairs. Aki appears on the balcony of the apartment and reconciles with Kyohei before setting off. Already knowing Kakuri was assigned the previous Seiki before her, Yutao wonders if Kakuri will remember her after it chooses another Seiki in the future. A final scene shows Kyohei utilizing the full power of Kakuri as he prepares to fight Amaterasu, which has been repaired after being buried under the Hyuga Shrine.